click the bell icon to turn on notifications.
Module 2-1, Introduction to Reports. In this module, I want to talk to you about some of the commonly generated reports, how to customize reports, and then some reports you may not be familiar with, but I think you'll really enjoy. Specifically, we're going to talk about the profit and loss, the balance sheet, accounts receivable, and accounts payable. If you're not familiar with the balance sheet, it's where you're going to find your assets, such as things you own, your liabilities, things you owe, and the equity, which is owner's money. It's really where the equation assets equals liability plus equity comes in. Accounts receivable is the summary or the log of the people who owe your business money. Accounts payable is the summary or log of people or businesses that your business owes money to. Module 2-2, Creating Standard Reports. In this module, I'm going to show you how to find and open reports within your QuickBooks Online. I'm going to work with some of the standard reports that you might already be familiar with, but you might not. To get to your reports, you're going to click on the word Reports in the gray bar on the left-hand side of your screen. If you don't see the gray bar on the left-hand side of your screen, it could be because it's hidden. If your gray bar is hidden, it's because you clicked on the 3 lines to the left of your business logo. If this happens to you, to get the gray bar back, you'll just click on the 3 lines to the left of your business logo, and the gray bar will reappear. Let's begin by clicking on the word Reports. QuickBooks helpfully groups up our reports for us. Any report we think we might want to look at on a regular basis, we can mark it as a favorite. Think of the favorites as like the bookmarks in your internet browser. Anytime you click the star to the right, it adds it to the favorites. Anytime you click the star when it's in the favorites, it takes it out of the favorites. Let me show you the grouping of the reports that are available to you. The favorites are the ones that you select and say, you know what, I'd really like to have these at my fingertips. Down below is Business Overview. So this is high-level financial data that you'll want for your business. Beneath that is Who Owes You. Said in accounting lingo, that's accounts receivable. Sales and customers, that's pretty straightforward. What you owe, also known as accounts payable. Expenses and vendors. Sales tax. One quick note about sales tax, it's also available to you if you click on taxes and then sales tax out here. Then there's employees, reports for your accountant, payroll reports. One quick note, some of these payroll reports are also available by clicking on taxes or by coming to the payroll module. Let me go back to the top and we're going to start with the profit and loss report. I have the profit and loss on the balance sheet both marked as favorites. Let me go ahead and click on the text Profit and Loss. When I click on the Profit and Loss report, it's going to tell me the sales or the income for my business, the cost of goods sold for my business, and the expenses for my business. It's going to show me this based on a specific date range. If you needed to change the date range, go ahead and scroll up to the top, and this will give you the ability to customize the date range. You can either click the drop down to the left, or on the right-hand side, you can select the dates you have in mind. Just beneath that, you have ways to customize the report. We'll definitely do that in the next module. Over to the right, you can toggle between cash and accrual accounting method. I want you to take a look at this and just get a sense of what's going on with your profit and loss report, also known as your income statement. You might be aware of expenses or income types that you saw on your chart of accounts that don't appear on this report. They don't appear on this report because there are no transactions within those accounts during the selected date range. Let me show you the balance sheet next. I'm going to click on Reports. I'm going to click on Balance Sheet. Now I've got my balance sheet. The balance sheet, you might be aware, is assets equals liability plus equity. There's nothing you need to do to make this happen. The accounting software will make this happen for you. The divider line between assets and liabilities and equity is this double line you see just below the word assets. In our example, our assets are $47,000. If I scroll down to the very bottom of this report, I'll see that our liabilities and equity also equal $47,000. There's nothing we need to do to make that happen. It just happens by itself. When we look at the balance sheet, the top of the balance sheet includes our assets, such as our bank accounts and accounts receivable. Our assets are things that our business owns. When I go down to the liabilities is the money that our business owes. So in our example, our business owes some payroll taxes and also some State of Washington Department of Revenue payable, also known as sales tax. If our business had a credit card, we'd see that here. When we get down to the equity, this is the retained earnings and the net income. Let me show you just a couple more reports before we move on to customizing. I'm going to go back to reports. And this time, instead of scrolling, I'm just going to search. And so I'm going to type in accounts. And I'm going to say, you know what? I'd like to see my accounts receivable aging summary. When I look at the accounts receivable aging summary, I can see who owes me money and how long they've owed it for. If I'm curious about more information, I can always click on the dollar amount to see it. Perhaps it's more useful to see this information broken out for all my clients at once without clicking on things individually. If that's the case, what you'll do is you'll go back to reports and you'll look for the accounts receivable aging detail. When I open up the accounts receivable aging detail, it says, okay, here's the people who are 1 to 30 days past due. Here's the various invoices and their totals. Underneath it, here are the people who are current, also known as not yet past due. Here's their invoices and here's their totals. It's just a different way of looking at the exact same report. If I go back to reports, I can show you a similar report for accounts payable. I'm going to start with accounts payable aging summary. I can see now that I owe $3,000. I have some money owed to ABC Land Holdings and some to Contractors RS. If I'm curious about what these are, I can click on the number and it'll show me the bill. If I'm curious about that, I can click on the bill and see more detail. Just like with accounts receivable, if I wanted to see the detail report for all of the people I owe money to, I can look at that. Let me go ahead and choose reports. I'm going to search for accounts payable aging detail. And now I can see the two people or the two companies that my business owes money to. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to customize various reports. So there's some things we talked about already, such as cash and accrual and the dates, but I want to talk to you about some more options that are available for customizing your reports. Module 2-3, Customizing Reports. In this module, I want to show you various ways to customize the reports built into QuickBooks Online. Previously, I showed you where to go to change your report dates and also to toggle between cash and accrual, but now I want to show you different ways you can filter and customize your reports. As you can imagine, we're going to start by clicking on the word reports on the left-hand side. Let me go ahead and start with the balance sheet. The balance sheet's in my favorites, so all I need to do is just click on the word balance sheet at the top. If you're not already familiar, the balance sheet is always as of a particular date. So when I scroll up, I can see that this is this year to date. That implies my balance sheet is going to represent January 1st through March 27th. That's not true. My balance sheet is a running balance from the beginning of time of my QuickBooks file through the date of March 27th. So it says as of March 27th. One thing I sometimes like to do is take a look and compare where am I at this year versus where was I at last year. So I'm going to go ahead and change this year to date to say all dates. And underneath that, I'm going to display columns by, and I'm going to say display columns by year, please. Over to the right, I'm going to click on Run Report. By doing this, I can see where my balance sheet stood on December 31st, 2020, compared to where does my balance sheet stand as of today. My cash position is just slightly better now than it was in December, and that's fantastic. I have more in accounts receivable. I have a little bit more in undeposited funds. I have more in accounts payable. I'm not going to read all these to you, but you get the idea. Sometimes it's useful to take a look and just see, how did my cash position change? How did my accounts payable change? How did my loans change? You can kind of get an idea of how this might be useful for you. I think it really shines when you look at the profit and loss and you start slicing it in different ways to view different time periods. So let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to go to the left and click on Reports. I'm going to click on Profit and Loss. I'm going to scroll up and I'm going to change the period to all dates. I'm going to say Display Columns By. I'm going to change the drop down from Total Only to say Years. On the right, I'm going to select Run Report. What I can see is that last year compared to this year, my revenue has gone up. Last year compared to this year, my expenses have also gone up. You can imagine how this might be useful after your business has been established for a couple of years, being able to see trends year over year. Are you going up or down? Are things going the way you want and the way you hope? Another useful view is to say, you know what? I want to see the last 6 or 8 months, but I want to see it month over month. I want to see a more detailed, more in-depth view. I don't necessarily need to see it year over year. So let's go ahead and change this. I'm going to change the Display Columns By. It currently says years, and I'm just going to replace it with months. I'm going to choose Run Report. Because my data file is small, I have data beginning December 2020 and ending March 2021. Your data file might go further back, and if that's the case, you're going to want to pick the specific starting date and ending date for a month-over-month report. In my case, as you can see, I've just picked all dates. I like being able to do this because then I can spot trends. I can also spot anomalies, such as spikes or dips in the numbers that I see. Let me show you a couple other ways to customize your profit and loss report. These tools will work in many of the other reports within QuickBooks Online. I'm just using the profit and loss because I think it's an easy, common report that many of you are going to be familiar with. I'm going to scroll up and I'm going to click on the word Customize in the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to come down and I'm going to say, you know what would be great? Please show this to me without cents and put my negative numbers in red. I'm going to click on Run Report so that I can see how this looks. If this is how your QuickBooks looks, I would encourage you to take a look and figure out why you have a negative $9,000 in office expense. I just did that for the purpose of this video so that we could see a negative number. Let me show you something else. I'm going to go ahead and change this back and I'm going to say show me all dates, show it to me by month, Run Report. In the upper right hand corner, I'm going to click on Customize. There are other things you can do with your report. I'm just going to show you what the options are and then you can decide for yourself what you might like to see within your own QuickBooks data. One thing that I sometimes like to do is rename things. If you ever wanted to rename the company name, you can do that here. That's only going to rename the company name on your report. It will not rename the company name within your QuickBooks file. You can give the title something else. So even though the dates are underneath it, you can say Profit and Loss and then put YTD if you wanted this year to date. When you're happy with any of the changes you've made, you'll click on Run Report. In the next section, I'm going to show you how to save reports you've customized. So for example, if you change the name of this or you've made stuff here red or you've done other things to customize the report and make it really your own, I will show you how to save that so you can get to it quickly next time. Module 2-4. In this module, I'm going to show you how to save your customized reports. In the earlier module, I showed you how to customize your reports. I want you to know how to save them so you can get to them easier. I also want you to have the ability to ask QuickBooks to automatically email those reports to you on a schedule if that's beneficial for you. Let's go ahead and grab a report from QuickBooks Online. We're going to customize it slightly, and then we'll save it for ourselves for later. To do this, I'm going to click on Reports on the left-hand side. I'm then going to go to Profit and Loss. I'm going to scroll up, and I'm going to make this say Months. Run Report. So I've decided to rename my report Rachel's Custom P&L Report by month. When I click into the white space on the right, it's going to update my report so that I can see it with the name that I chose. I can see that it's by month and I can see that it's broken out with the pennies. I know from before that I really like to take the pennies off and I want to see my negative numbers in red so that way they stick out and remind me to investigate if I need to. So I'm just going to customize slightly to make that happen. I'm going to say without cents, show my negatives in red, Run Report. Now I've got the report set up the way I like it. It didn't take me very long to do this, but imagine if you have a handful of reports you're doing this for. Every single time you want to look at your QuickBooks reports. Let me show you how to save them or memorize them so that they're available to you later. I'm going to scroll up to the right-hand side of my screen. I'm going to click on the green Save Customization. I'm then going to give my report a name. Because I replaced the words profit and loss with the words by month, that's the option that QuickBooks is giving me for my report name. I think it's a pretty crummy report name. I've decided to name my report P&L by month. You can name the report anything you want. This is just a reminder for you. I can add the report to a group. In this case, I'm going to add it to a group. I'm going to give it a group name. So I've decided to name my report Profit and Loss by Month. I've decided to add it to a report group that I'm now creating called QBO Advanced Course Demo. I'm going to click Add to create the group name. Then I will click Save to save my report into that group. It says my report has been successfully saved. I'm going to verify this by going to the left-hand side, clicking on the word Reports, clicking on the tab that says Custom Reports, and then I can see my custom reports. This group, QBO Advanced Course Demo, it's going to have all the reports I've saved under here. In this case, one Profit and Loss by Month report. Over to the right, I can see under the word Email, the word Unscheduled. The word Unscheduled tells me this report is not scheduled to be automatically emailed to me. If I wanted to have this automatically emailed to me, I absolutely could. Let me do that. I'm going to click on the word Edit. I'm going to say Set Email Schedule in the upper left-hand corner. I would like the recurrence to be daily, weekly, monthly, or twice a month. I'm going to say daily, but really I'm going to say every 2 days. And then end by, end after. I can select that if I want, and I don't. And I can set up an email that I want it to go to. So in this case, I just want it to go to me. So I've entered my email address, rachel+happyland@generalfrog.com. I can change the subject line for my email, and I can change the body of the email. The purpose of this is that I just want to have the reports automatically sent to me. So I might have them sent to me because somebody else is doing my bookkeeping and I want to keep an eye on how things are looking. I might want them sent to me just a reminder that I need to look at stuff myself. There's any variety of reasons I might choose to send the reports to myself. Because I set this up as a group, I can have a variety of reports sent to me, or I can do individual reports. I can also set it up so that it attaches the report as an Excel file. When I'm happy, I can choose Save and Close. What I can see now is that any reports that are set up in this section called QBO Advanced Course Demo will be automatically emailed to me on a schedule of every 2 days. These other reports up above, they will not automatically be emailed to me. If I wanted, for example, to have this Sales by Customer Summary emailed to me, I can click on Edit. I can either set the email schedule, or I can just say, you know what, add this to my report group. So I'm going to add it to the report group. I'm going to say Save and Close. And now it's also going to be emailed to me every 2 days. Let me go back to the dashboard. I'm going to start from the beginning and show you how to get to this. I'm also going to show you one other thing you might find interesting. So I can get to the reports that I've saved by clicking on Reports and then choosing Custom Reports at the top of my screen. If I said I don't need to have this emailed to me, I just want to have a report that I can get to whenever I want, I can certainly get to it going the route that I've just shown you. Another option that's available to me is I can bookmark the report in my internet browser. Another option available to me is that I can bookmark this in my internet browser. For the purpose of this video, I'm not showing my bookmarks, but I do want you to know this is available to you. You would just bookmark it like you would anything else. Add to your bookmarks. You can put it in your bookmark bar. When you click Done, if your bookmark bar is displayed, you'll then see it available to you. And you'll be able to click on that and go directly into your QuickBooks, and more specifically to the report you've bookmarked. That helpful hint also works with anything else in here, such as invoicing, making deposits, etc. In this video, I showed you how to save custom reports to get to later. I showed you how to set them up on an email schedule so that QuickBooks Online will automatically email them to you. I also showed you how to add it to your internet bookmarks bar, so you could easily get to the reports anytime you wanted to without navigating around within QuickBooks. In the next video, I want to show you a very specific report. I want to show you the audit trail report. The audit trail is a log of everything that's ever happened within your QuickBooks Online file. So people logging in, people adding accounts, people making changes to transactions. The audit trail is just a log of everything that's happened within your QuickBooks. So again, I'm going to show you how to get to it, and I'm also going to show you how to read it. Module 2-5, Audit Trail. In this module, I want to show you what the audit trail is and how to read it. If you're not familiar with the audit trail quite simply is just a log of everything that has happened within your QuickBooks Online file. Things that you have done and things that QuickBooks Online has done on its own. The audit trail is a type of report. To get to the audit trail, you're going to click on the word Reports on the left-hand side of your QuickBooks. I can scroll down and I can see Audit Log is right here in Business Overview. You can search in the upper right-hand corner where it says Find by Report Name. You can say, I want that report with the word audit in it, and you type the word audit. Audit Log will appear in your drop-down list, and you can select it with your mouse. It's going to show me the user that has done things, in this case me. It's going to show me when things were done, and then the event or what happened. So let me just pick on this, and I'll click on the history to the right. I can see what happened was I added a memorized report, and then I edited it. I added the memorized report on March 6th. That's when I created the report. And then on March 27th, I went ahead and edited it. The edit that I did was that I grouped it from one section to another. Let me click the back arrow on my browser so that I can show you a different example of how the audit log can be used. I can see there's changes to memorized reports. That's useful, but not really spectacular. As I scroll down, I can see the various things in the audit log, such as adding deposits, adding expenses, adding bills, all this good stuff. Let me come down to a situation where something was changed. Invoice number 1021. In this case, the example says edited rather than added. Edited, as it sounds, means that something changed on the invoice. Let me go over to the right and click on the word View. When I look at the audit log, I can see what's happened. I'm just going to scroll down so you can get a sense of what the audit log looks like. So you can see some ads and some edits, some ads and some edits, some logins. Fun fact, you're not going to see log out unless the user specifically comes up, clicks on their initial in the upper right-hand corner, and says sign out. Most of us don't do that. Most of us just close the browser when we're done. That's why you're seeing log in, but not log out. Let me scroll up to the top and I'll show you a couple ways you can modify this report. I can click on filter and I can say I want a particular user. So I have myself, and then I also have system admin. System admin is what shows up when you've connected a third-party app to your QuickBooks and you let the third-party app make changes to your QuickBooks. This is not a bad thing, it's a good thing. I just want you to know that it's here. You can select the date range that you'd like to look into. You can select the events that you want to see. Hidden in the transactions list, if you click on transactions and then all transactions, you can find deleted and voided transactions. I spend a fair amount of time here when I'm spot checking things. Go ahead and click on apply. You can see that I've deleted a sales receipt. So at one point I had a sales receipt and then I came back and I deleted it. If I want to know more about what happened, I can click on the view under the word history. So I have these three things. So the bottom, or the oldest, says here's what happened originally. Originally there was a sales receipt for a product described as a widget, a quantity of 3, a rate of $100 each. Over to the right, I can see that I've received $300 in cash. If I click on the next entry, I can see what changed. The highlighted bits are the bits that changed. It looks like the change was I went from 3 widgets at $100 and I added 4 widgets at $100 and I made those 4 widgets subject to sales tax, meaning that the new amount collected was $740. So then the third thing I see is that exactly at the same minute, right? So at 11:15 I made the change. At 11:15 I came back and I deleted it. There's nothing to click on here because deleted, it just means that it's deleted. If you find this view difficult to follow, you can always click on the word compare on the right-hand side. When I click on compare, it shows me the last thing that happened. in this case deleted. Not terribly useful. If I find that this view is frustrating, what I can do is I can click on Show All to the right. When I click on Show All, it's going to show me everything that has happened. So the top being the deleted, the middle being the changes, and the bottom being the original transaction. If I go to the right and I click on Compare, I can ask QuickBooks to show me the comparison between two events. There's 3 events here, and so it's comparing events 2 and 3. If I click Next, I can say, please compare events 1 and 2. So event 1, I had a sales receipt for $300. Event 2, I had changed my sales receipt from $300 to $740. And then if I click Previous, I can just see it's deleted. You might find this a little bit strange or a little bit difficult to follow, so I'm going to give you a different example. Let's go back to Reports, go to Audit Log. I'm going to clear my filter. And here we are. We're just right where we started. I can see there's an invoice 1022. I can click on invoice 1022. I'm going to go ahead and make changes to this invoice just so you can see it updating in the audit log. I'm going to make changes to this invoice. Right now it's a consulting invoice for $9.99. It's currently, if I scroll down, it says the balance due is $9.99. I'm going to throw in a percentage discount of 10%. So now the balance due is $8.99. I'm just going to click the lower right hand corner where it says Save and Send. I'm going to change it to say Save and Close. It says been linked, and I'm like, yep, that's no problem. And I come back to my audit log and I see that Rachel has edited the invoice. That's the one we just saw down below and I just edited. I can click the history to the right by clicking on the word View. I can say Show All. So at the bottom it says here's the invoice that was created. And then here it says here's the changes made. So I added a discount of 10%. I applied $99 to the account called Discounts Given. And I have updated the amount owing in accounts receivable. The amount owing was $9.99 and now it's $8.99. If you wanted to see it differently, you could click on Compare. When I click on Compare, it highlights the differences. So it says previously the amount was $9.99 and now the amount's $8.99. The open balance was $9.99. Now the open balance is $8.99. You get the idea. I like the audit trail because it helps me understand if things change. Did I make that change by mistake? Did QuickBooks make the change? Or did somebody else perhaps make the change and maybe I need to use this as an opportunity for a coaching call? That's the audit log. You may never come into the audit log and that's totally fine. The purpose of my including the audit log in this tutorial video is because I think it's important for you to know what it is, where it is, how to read it, and some of the things you might find by selecting the audit log. In the next video, I want to show you some bonus reports. In previous videos, we've talked about standard reports such as the profit and loss in the balance sheet. We've talked about how to customize those reports to meet your needs. Next, I want to show you about some reports that maybe you're less familiar with, but you might find useful or interesting. Stuff such as invoices and receipt payments, unbilled time and charges, and similar. Module 2-6, Bonus Reports. In this module, I want to show you some reports that maybe you're not as familiar with, but they might help you. Stuff as the Invoices and Receipt Payments Report and Unbilled Time and Charges Report. Let's go ahead and take a look at these bonus reports together. All right, on the left-hand side, I'll have you start by clicking on the word Reports. When you click on Reports, it's going to open up a variety of reports. We've really spent a lot of time at the beginning in the Favorites box and a little bit in this Business Overview. Let's go ahead and scroll down together and we're just going to pick on a couple of these reports and I'll show you what they are and talk to you about how they might be useful for you and your business. There's this Profit and Loss by Class report. Let me go ahead and open it up and show you what it looks like and then talk to you about how it could be useful. Right now I have one class assigned in my QuickBooks Online file. It's class number 1. Businesses will use class tracking to differentiate different parts of their businesses. So perhaps you have a wholesale and a retail division, or maybe you offer online versus in-person sales. Those are 2 examples of class tracking. Another example is maybe location 1 versus location 2. Whatever the case, you can tag your income and expenses to various classes, and then you can view the profit and loss just as we have throughout this course, or you can view the profit and loss by class where you say, I want to compare class number 1 against class number 2, etc. And of course, you would give it better names than class 1 and class 2. I just did that for the purpose of this video. Let's go back to reports and look at other reports. There is a budget report within QuickBooks Online. You might find this beneficial, or you might prefer to use an external third-party app for your budget. Let me start with the budget overview. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. I'm going to change it to display the budget that I previously created. This budget overview is what I've created for QuickBooks, and I've said, you know what, I'd really like my sales to be $5,000 a month. I would like my expenses to be as listed. Here's my budget or my hope for my business. When I click on budget versus actuals, QuickBooks is going to compare the budget that I previously set up within QuickBooks against the actuals of what really happened in my business. This gives me a chance to see if I'm under or over budget. As a quick aside, if you're curious about how to set up your budget, it's hidden in the gear. If you click on the gear in the upper right-hand corner, and then under the word tools, you click on the word budgeting. This is where you're going to go to add or edit your existing budget. Let's go back to reports. The next report I want to show you is the business snapshot report. It's in the section of business overview. When I click on business snapshot, it's going to show me graphs and kind of a snapshot of my business. It's not as great as some third-party apps. I really can't customize it a whole lot. You can see that I can modify the dates if I wanted to, and I can print these out if they're useful to me. But it is helpful. It's better than nothing, of course. So I wanted you to see it just so you could get a sense of it and then decide if this is a good report for you or not. We'll go back to reports. I mentioned this in the introduction, but this report on the right, this invoices and receipt payments report, it's one of my favorite reports when I'm helping people understand what happened with their client payments. I'm going to click on invoices and receipt payments and show you what it looks like and explain what's going on. When I generate this report, what QuickBooks is going to do is it's going to show me there's a payment and which invoices did I link to that payment. Cindy Smith, for example, she paid $219. That was specifically for invoice 1010 and for 1011. Matt Everett, he paid $49.95, and that was for all these invoices underneath. He paid $100 even for just one invoice. What I like about this is that you might have a situation where a customer comes to you and they said, I wrote you a check and it was for these particular invoices. You can come to this report and see, did you line up their check with the invoices they had in mind? And if you didn't, then you can fix it. If you did, then fantastic. What I like about this is that if a customer comes to you and says, I paid invoice 1010, you can come in here, you can find the check that they gave you, and you can see where did you assign that check? Which invoices did you mark paid with their check? In our example, the invoices are all pretty different amounts, but sometimes it happens where a client has the same amount due every single month or every single week, and they intended to pay stuff oldest to newest, but you marked it as paid newest to oldest. I want you to have the ability to see which invoices were paid with a particular payment, just in case you need to modify it. It doesn't change the amount of money your client has given you. It just changes how you apply the payments. As a quick aside, if you're not sure how to modify that, you'll just click on the payment. When you're in the payment screen, you can check and uncheck the invoices, so you mark things as paid the way the client intended for you to mark things as paid. And when you're happy, you click Save and Close. In our case, we're just going to click Cancel. If you're using QuickBooks to track your time, which is not necessarily using QuickBooks Payroll, you might have unbilled time. I want you to see how to generate a report for your unbilled time. In the section called Who Owes You, you'll just click on the words Unbilled Time. In our example, we don't have any unbilled time. Let's go ahead and add some time just so you can see what it would look like if we had some. I'm going to click on Plus New in the upper left-hand corner. I'm going to go into the section for employees and say single time activity. I'm going to say Ronald Jones, our employee. He has a rate of $10 an hour. He's going to be regular pay. Customer, he's going to work on Cindy. It's going to be billable. I'm going to bill it out at 15. I'm not going to do any sort of class tracking. I'm not going to enter a start and end time. I'm going to enter 1 unit and then info here. Write anything I want to show up on my invoice. So this is me tracking Ronald's time I'll pay him however I pay him. It could be through QuickBooks, could be elsewhere. He could be a contractor. I'm going to say save and close. Now the unbilled time report is updated to show that I have 1 hour of time that I've associated with my client, Cindy Smith, that I have not yet billed Cindy for. This will be useful in the case that you invoice your clients once a month, but you come in here and you log the time as it happens so that you don't forget to bill them. If you make a habit of coming back to this unbilled time report, you'll be able to see, did you forget to invoice anybody for the time that you've worked? And if so, use this as an opportunity to generate that invoice. The same logic applies for unbilled charges, so I'm not going to show you that. I think you understand. Within reporting, the sales and customers area is useful. There's a couple of things I really like. I like seeing my sales by customer summary, so let me go ahead and show you this. I can see who my customers are and what they've bought. I can sort it in descending order. I can see who's buying the most from me. So in this case, Cindy buys the most. Matt buys the second most, and he's broken up into 2 sections because he has Matt himself and then project 1. When I generate the sales by customer summary report, I can see who's buying the most from me. In my sample QuickBooks file, I have 2 clients. I have Cindy and I have Matt, and I can see that Cindy is buying the most from me. In your actual business, you're likely to have more clients than this. What I like about it is it sometimes isn't the person you hear from the most that buys the most from you. This will give you a chance just to reset your perspective and see who your top clients are. In kind of the same way that I like to see who my top clients are, I like to see what my top selling items are. To get there, I'm going to go to the Sales and Customer section, Sales by Product Service Summary. Just a reminder, the Sales by Product and Service Summary is the products and services that you select when generating an invoice or a sales receipt for your clients. So what I can see from here is that 79% of my sales comes from consulting, 17% comes from the generic name sales, my products are 3%, and this not specified, that's a discount I gave in an earlier module of $99 or 10%, so I can see that less than 1% of my sales is being discounted. So I kind of like it just to give me a sense of what are my hot sellers. One report that I think is really helpful as we get closer to the beginning of the year and we start thinking about 1099s for those of us in America is the transaction list by vendor. For those of us in America, toward the end of the year, we need to start thinking about 1099 forms. Sometimes the question comes up, how much money have I given a particular vendor? I want to show you how to answer that question for yourself in case you're ever curious. When you go to the section called Expenses and Vendors, you have the ability to click on Expenses by Vendor Summary. I'm going to go ahead and do that for you. And I can say, okay, as of this year to date, who have I given the most money to? I can now see my order of who I've given money to. I can sort it in descending order if it's helpful. I can see that I have a not specified vendor. What that means is that I have a transaction within my QuickBooks where I never assigned a vendor name and I should have. I can find out who that is by clicking on the number to the right. In this case, it's an example I entered earlier. I can see that it's an office expense of $10,000 and the name is completely blank. Let's go ahead and update this. I'm going to pick on Staples. And I'll choose Save and Close. And now this is blank. This is blank because I was looking for vendors with no name attached to them. If I click on Back to Report Summary in the upper left-hand corner, I can now see that the money given to Staples is negative $9,975. That's clearly not true, but it's because I recorded a deposit as though Staples gave me a refund of $10,000. But again, what I like about this is that if you ever want to know how much money you've given to a vendor, you can find that here. If you feel like the number is funny, such as this negative $9,000, you can click on the number to learn a little bit more about what's happening. You can see, all right, I spent $25 and I've recorded a deposit of $10,000. If that's not true, in this case it's definitely not, you can always click on the 10,000 and correct it. As we go through this list, you can see there's a lot of reports and there's a lot of amazing things you can do. In the earlier module, I showed you how to customize reports. The customization options will vary from report to report. I encourage you, if you're taking a look at any of these reports, to feel free to customize it in a way that might make more sense for you. This wraps up Module 2 for reporting, and also specifically bonus reports. My hope with bonus reports is you got a better sense of the reports that are available to you within QuickBooks Online, and that I've highlighted at least one report that you might find beneficial for you and your business.
If you're not a subscriber, click down below to subscribe so you get notified about similar videos we upload. To get a free QuickBooks Online Essential Keyboard Shortcuts infographic, click over there. And click over there to watch more QuickBooks videos from Simon Says It.